You're listening to Coach Rita on the LOA Radio Network. Many say that the law of attraction doesn't always work. And Coach Rita would like to show you why it's not working. During this hour, you will gain great insight that will help you to make easy changes to become the great co-creator that you came here to be. Tune in and discover your missing link to the law of attraction with Coach Rita Hurry.
Hello everyone, welcome back to your Missing Link to the Law of Attraction show. I'm your host, Coach Rita Hurry, and I hope everyone's feeling good today. Good and positive, I hope. Finally, in the UK, we are having some days of sunshine. Now, in the UK, in winter, it can get sometimes a little bit dull and very dark and very cold, but this week we have been blessed with lots of sunshine. Still a little bit cold towards the evening, but it's just nice to have nice bright days where it gives you that energy and that get up and go and reminds you that yes, spring is on the way. So we've been enjoying some great sunshine over here, and I hope that wherever you are that there's some sunshine, and if there's no sunshine outside, well, always remember you've got sunshine in your hearts, I hope. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the last show. It was quite an inspiring show, and I must admit it did inspire me a lot to speak to my special guest. But as with this show, it is always more inspiration and more guidance for you. So I hope in some way that it is inspiring you. I have some great guests lined up for the future as well. I've been in touch with quite a few people who are eager to actually share their message with you and keep you inspired. So I'm looking forward to future shows and to keep on doing what I'm doing and keeping you motivated and going for your dreams and uplifting you in some way. So keep on staying tuned to the show. But today on the show, we have singer, songwriter and musician Shaun C Bryant, who will be sharing his insight into the music world. So definitely a must for all you aspiring musicians out there. I will be welcoming I will be welcoming Shaun on the show later. There's too many SHs there. Well, I think you know what time it is, so I'm going to go straight into it today. It's Coach Rita Hurry's Corner time. And today we'll be exploring the topic of love and relationships and how to attract that special someone, as suggested by one of my regular listeners, Faye. So Faye, thank you for your suggestion. But first, I have a question from another listener based here in the UK. Reese, thank you for your question. And Reese asked, how do you manifest something quickly? Now, I'm sure many of you are dying to know the answer to this and are like, yes, that's what I want. I want to know, how can I manifest something quickly? Well, the key to manifesting is how you feel. And I'm sure I've mentioned this quite a few times in my show. It's about how you feel about what you want. Do you view it as if it's too big to happen quickly, or do you view it as something easy? Now that's a big point here. Now the answer to this question reveals how quickly also you can manifest what you want. For example, if you think that money, and I know many of us think money is a very big thing to manifest, especially when we want lots of it. And we may view wanting a parking spot when we go out to the supermarket or to our favourite restaurant. We see that as easier than manifesting money. That very viewpoint is what delays the attraction to money manifesting in your life. Now, I know many of us always ask the question about money because it's one of the biggest things that we want to manifest to get through life, to give us a sense of freedom. But we've got to look at money as what it really is. Money is energy. That's pure and simple what it is. Money is energy. But what we always get into our minds is that it's too big. It's something that if we want, we have to work hard for. We have to struggle. We have these almost these not blockages. I'm trying to think of the word here, but these connections that we have that we associate with money, that we think money is too big to just say, I want this much and it's going to be possible. And that's what stands in the way. Now, yes, sometimes it's a waiting period for money, but it's a waiting period for anything. But what I'm getting at there in terms of how you see it, if you see it as bigger than anything else, then it will be bigger. And if you see it as harder than anything else, well, it will be harder. So if that particular manifestation is money, for example, by viewing it as something difficult to get, that's your blockage, that's your delay. Because money is energy. Just like everything else you want to manifest, money is energy. And money is here to serve you, to give you the opportunities, to give you the life that you want to live. It creates freedom. So remember that if it's in relation to money, that it is just energy and your association with it is the blockage. So look at it as energy, and just like with everything else, as energy comes in and goes out, that's the same with money. So you have to do that. So going back to the question, do you view whatever it is you want to manifest as big, or do you view it as something easy and small? So I want you to know that nothing is too big and nothing is too small. Everything can be manifested. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, that often we are the ones that are standing in the way, and the universe has already said it's done. There is no delay. Well, there is, in terms of human times, there's delay, but in terms of the universe says, okay, you want this, it's done. So there is nothing too big or too small that cannot be manifested. Everything can and will be done. Now, in relation to the time factor, well, that depends on you. Often the only thing, as I've said, that's standing in the way of what you want is you and how you feel. Feel good and excited about the things, and watch how quickly things start to manifest. The key, and I will probably keep repeating this over and over again, but really the key to a lot of manifestation is feeling good, getting excited about the things that you want, about life, about you, and the manifestations will flow. Look at the things that are going well in your life. Look at the positives you have created thus far. And just as those were created by you, so too can what you ask for be created. In the last show, I mentioned focusing on the absence of what you want. And this is the one thing that keeps us from getting what we want. We think we're focusing on what we want, but what we're actually doing is focusing on the absence of it. Because when we start to say, well, how quickly can I have this? How, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? think about that for a moment. There's a slight impatience in that question, and that impatience comes from a noticing that it's not here yet. Where is it? I really want it. Why is it not here? That area is focusing on the absence of it. But I'm focusing on it. I see it. I want it. I know I still love it with passion. I really want it to come into my life. But you're noticing it's not there. So I would say, listen to yourself. When you ask yourself questions, listen. Does it sound that it's coming from a place of, I know it's coming, so it's already come? Or does it sound like I'm waiting? If it sounds like a waiting question, then it's coming from a place of, I'm noticing that it's absent from my life. When is it coming? What's happening? Then you know the reason why it's not come, because you are focusing on the absence of it. So a lot of it is very much a case of understanding yourself, knowing yourself, and listening to the questions you ask yourself about things that you want. Manifestations can happen in a blink of an eye. Anything can come your way, but often, as I've said, it is us that's standing in the way, and we forget how powerful we are, because we're prone to just the daily routine and the usual way of doubt and fear and anxiety, and we need to move away from that, because there's no way we can create a positive life for ourselves if we're still thinking negatively, if we're still wondering, is it going to be? Because there's still an element of doubt there. And also, one of the things that I want you to remember is everything has a gestation period. And what I mean by that is, if you think about a a couple, and the wife, the partner gets pregnant, and they're happy, maybe it's maybe they wanted children for a while, and she's finally pregnant, and the baby doesn't come out straight away. No matter how much they want this pregnancy, there's a gestation period. It's normally the case, it's 9 months, although some babies come out earlier, some come out later, but the gestation period, it's 9 months before the baby is born. And during those 9 months, you start getting ready, you start preparing for the baby, you start reading the books, you start going to antenatal classes, you start going for checkups, you prepare the room and the clothes, and the excitement builds. But that baby is being prepared to come out. But the seed has been planted, and it's there. The baby is in her womb. So that's almost kind of an example of what you asked for. You planted the seed already, and it is manifesting. But always remember, the universe, the higher being, God, they always has the perfect timing. There is always a perfect time. Think about everything that you've asked for, and when it comes, it always just seems to come at the perfect time, doesn't it? So trust that what you've asked for has happened. Get excited. Have fun with it. Go be you. Like I always say, and I will constantly say it, go and have fun. Go and enjoy, because that is the key to getting what you want. But at the same time, know that the universe always know when the perfect time is. If you think about everything you want, and then the next day it's all there, it's like sometimes it could be too much to handle all in one go. Every time I want this, it's there. I want this, it's there. Yeah, it sounds like fun to begin with, but eventually it will be like, whoa, hold on, I can't deal with this. Can we have it in bits and, time here? Maybe this week I'll have this, next week I'll have that. so that you can handle, so that you can appreciate what you have. That's important. And the universe knows this. The universe knows it's to make you happy. So don't worry, don't stress, just get out of the way, prepare for what you've asked that will come, and have fun, get excited, focus on the good things that you enjoy, and it will come. Practice this on a daily basis, and it will come a lot sooner. And I'm speaking from experience. Sometimes I'll get a wave of excitement, and I don't know what it's exactly in relation to, but sometimes I'll get a wave of excitement and know it's going to work out. What I've asked for is coming. Which particular thing I've asked for, not too sure, because as we all do, we probably ask for quite a lot of things. But I feel something great is coming. And hand on heart, although you can't see me putting my hand on my heart right now, but it always comes. Something, what I've asked for, comes either that evening or the following day. But some manifestation, whether big or small, always happens. And this is no lie. I'm telling you the honest truth. That's what happens. Why? Because I start to enjoy, I start to have fun, I get excited, because I just let go and say, it's not, I've created it in the fact that I've thought about it, and I know it's going to happen. That's my role, and now I'm trusting in the universe. So Reese, that's a really good question, and I hope this answer actually helps. Just know that it's going to happen, but get out of the way. Don't stress about when it's going to happen or anything. Excuse me. Just get out of the way. Know that it's coming, and know it's coming at the right time. And as I've mentioned, I believe it was in my first show where I said, get excited in anticipation of what's coming. It really does make things manifest a whole lot quicker when we move out the way and we just let the universe flow right through and do its work. So Reese, again, thank you for that question, and I hope it helps in some way. And again, if anyone's got any questions out there for me to answer or good news stories, please do send them in. Email address is info@coachrita.co.uk. So I hope that answers your question, Reese. Okay, so Valentine's Day has just passed us. And for many of us, it was a day that many couldn't wait to see the back of, unfortunately. I must admit, when I was out doing my shopping on Valentine's Day, it actually seemed like a normal day. I think the hype for it has kind of gone down a little. It's not as in your face as it used to be. But again, sometimes it is a difficult period for many, being on your own and knowing that it's a couple's day can be difficult for many. So attracting that special someone, how do you avoid making the same mistakes again, or just generally trying to find that special someone, that person who you can connect with and have fun? Well, here's my top 3 tips that will get you started. First of all, attracting love is all about gaining clarity. Clarity on who you are, what qualities you want in a partner, and what you want in a relationship. Now, it is important to have that clarity, because that almost sets the scene for what you want in a relationship in the future. Now, if you think about filmmakers, if you think about authors, they always set the scene. They always know what character, what their main character is going to be like, down to the point of what they look like, their accent, where they're from, and even with films, you know, the scene, the setting, and where it's going to be, and how they want it to appear on the big screen. That's kind of what you've got to do with life. You've got to have that sense of clarity so that you can envision exactly what you want. So knowing yourself is a big key word here. Knowing yourself, understanding who you are, and understanding what qualities you're looking for in a partner that will complement who you are, and what you want from a relationship. This is, I would say, this is the first step to making sure that you attract the right person for you. Remember that like attracts like. So if you're unsure, and if you're just accepting whoever comes your way, then you're going to be faced with a lot of difficulties, and you're going to have ups and downs because you're not clear about yourself. You're not clear who you are. You're not clear about your own wants and desires. So how can you be clear about what you want from a relationship when you're coming from almost a cloudy place yourself? So I always say start with yourself and work forward and gain that clarity. And then once you know, then it makes it easier. You know, getting clear on anything in life is a huge step, and it's a step where actions can seem so much more easier when you come from, I know this now. You know, it comes from a place of, I know what I don't want, so I know what I do want. It's almost coming from that place, so you need to do that. So get clear, put pen to paper, get on the computer, write your list, look at you, write about who you are and who you want to attract, and what is it in that relationship that you want. My second tip is about loving yourself unconditionally. Now, as with the first tip, if you don't love yourself unconditionally, then you're not going to find someone who loves you unconditionally. Going back, like attracts like. So you've got to enjoy you. Don't put yourself down. If you wake up one morning and you're not looking as hot as you normally do, don't put yourself down, saying, oh, I don't look as hot as I usually do, but you know what? I'm still attractive. I'm still gorgeous. I still love me. I would suggest mirror work, definitely. Looking at yourself, giving yourself a little smile, maybe pulling a face, and being able to say to yourself, I love you. I think you're just awesome. I think you're great. Do that. Get to love yourself unconditionally. If you're looking at your body and you notice the faults, well, guaranteed everyone else is going to notice it because you're pulling it out there. Because if you notice it, you're not actually sending out a good vibe out there. Love your body. Love everything about you, your personality, your body, your likes, your dislikes, your hair. And if there's anything you want to change it. But never ever look at yourself from a negative viewpoint, because that is the block. And that is what's going to stop that great partner from loving you. You've got to love yourself. And confidence is an attractive factor. It's a huge attraction factor. And if you don't have confidence in yourself and you can't give yourself unconditional love, it's not the responsibility of another to do that for you. It has to come from you. So my second tip is to love yourself unconditionally. Do the mirror work. Really start to fall in love with yourself. And in this issue, the February issue of The Science Behind the Law of Attraction magazine, I have an article in there entitled True Love, Falling in Love with You. And in there, I mention the fact that it's important to fall in love with you before you can attract that special someone. It's important. And I'm sure if you ask anyone in a relationship, one of the key attraction qualities is about that person really loving themselves. It is a good bonus to have, because when they're coming from a place of love, the only way to move from that is to give love. And my final tip for today is, if there is no one in your immediate circle that you're attracted to, venture out. Do those things that you would love to do with that potential partner. Go out and enjoy life. Go and try those different pursuits and go and try different hobbies. Go to areas where you possibly think that your the potential partner would be enjoying. Because if you go back to my first tip, where I'm talking about sharing things and knowing what you want from a relationship, going back to that, if you mention the fact of, I want my potential partner to be someone who enjoys, I don't know, let's say going to basketball matches, maybe they are actually going to basketball matches, and maybe they're there sitting, could have the seat next to you or could have the seat opposite you. You don't know. But if you're not there, if you're not actually why do you want to enjoy basketball matches with a potential partner if you don't even go and enjoy it yourself? So get out there, go and enjoy you, and that's hand in hand with everything. It all starts with you. Go out there, go and be you, go and enjoy life and have fun, and you will attract that person that you're looking for into your life. Remember, always remember, like attracts like. And if you're not living the life that you want to live with this person who you want to get in a relationship with, then you're almost contradicting yourself. And it's not like attracts like then. It's you're doing something else, but what you want is not coming because you're not doing it, So always remind yourself, like attracts like. So if I want this type of partner, then I have to not necessarily be that way to attract that person, but just be in love with life. Because I'm sure that the reason you actually are getting involved in relationship is because you want to have fun. Isn't that the beauty of relationships? To have fun together. So go out and have fun. Know what fun is before you have the fun with a partner. So I hope these 3 tips get you to start moving in the right direction. Remember, feel love first, and I promise the manifestation will follow. And also you'll enjoy the journey a whole lot more. So if anyone out there wants to explore this further and needs one-to-one coaching on relationships, I do offer one-to-one relationship coaching. So for more info, please visit my website, www.coachrita.co.uk, or email me on info@coachrita.co.uk. And the first initial consultation is free, so contact me and let's get you on that attraction factor and get you out there. Okay, well, we're running out of time for the first part of the show, so it's time for a break now before I bring on my special guest, Shaun C Bryant. So stay tuned and I'll speak to you after this station ID. Take care.
You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network, heard by millions worldwide through 38 internet radio stations and in over 135 countries. Be sure to sign up for your monthly updates and get all the latest information on LOA radio events, such as cruises, workshops, and seminars, as well as information on the latest shows, topics, and guests. Go to LOARadionetwork.com and sign up today. It's here, it's hot, and it's a must read. It's the science behind The Law of Attraction magazine. Every issue brings you great articles and in-depth how-tos from all your favorite Law of Attraction experts, authors, scientists, and medical professionals. Go to lawofattractionmagazine.net. That's lawofattractionmagazine.net.
Well, welcome back everyone to the second half of your missing link to the Law of Attraction. I'm pleased to have Shaun C Bryant as my special guest on the show today. Welcome, Shaun.
Nice to be here.
Great. So we're going to basically take it back to where it all started for you. How did you know you wanted to pursue a career in music?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I was about 36 years old, I think, when I kind of fell into music. I was going through a divorce at the time and needed a little bit of an outlet, really. Divorces aren't the best of things to go through for anybody. And bought myself my first Hohner Countryman guitar, which always hangs in the studio and is still with me. Didn't cost a huge amount of money. I think it was about £80 from one of these like guitar stores on eBay kind of thing.
Okay.
And just kind of started fooling around, learning a few songs, bit of Bon Jovi, bit of Springsteen, things like that. And then I met my other half and we moved up to, well, I moved up to Norfolk, up to Norwich. And basically, through a friend of ours, he started teaching me how to play guitar proper. And I wrote a song and played it to him, sang it to him. And he said, let's see whether you can sing and get you in the booth. Because he had like a small recording studio at his house as well. And lo and behold, he said, you can sing. And we recorded that song. That song was Angel, my first ever song that I recorded. And basically, that got me a performance on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
Wow, brilliant.
That was April 2010, I think.
Wow.
And so that was on the Sue Marchant show. And Sue's a lovely lady, and still talk to her occasionally on Facebook.
Brilliant. So you didn't realise that you had these musical talents to what extent beforehand?
No. I mean, I enjoyed music at school. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. If I sort of realised that I enjoyed music that much, I would have quite happily continued it at like O level and A level. And I mean, the only thing I ever really did musically at school was really, to be honest, be in the school choir. That was about it.
Okay.
So I had I knew sort of how to look after my voice and how to breathe properly a little bit, I suppose. But I still struggle. There are certain songs that you sing along to and you think, oh, I'll sing along to that. And you suddenly realise that your breathing's completely out of whack and you're missing all the high notes. So.
I think I'm used to that. I'm always singing out of tune, so...
Oh, trust me. I mean, even in the studio, I've got my new producer, Adam, now. And if I do a bum note, we have a good laugh about it. And he sort of looks at me and I get this quizzical look from the mixing desk. And it's like, where did that one come from? So yeah, and one of my friends that I know well musically, he always jokes, "Oh, that's just jazz. Don't worry about it. Anything that's out of tune, it's just jazz."
Brilliant, brilliant. So, how would you describe your music to those listeners out there who've possibly never heard your stuff? How would you describe your music to them?
I always joke it's sort of melodic acoustic-y rock with a bit of Brit rock thrown in. There's lots of different sort of influences in my work, predominantly 80s rock. So we're talking people like Jovi, Springsteen. There's a bit of Dylan in there. There's a bit of Bowie in there if you listen. There's even somebody made a comment recently to me. There's even a bit of my voice sounding a bit Bob Geldof-y as well, which I was
Oh,
quite
wow.
taken aback by. But I do have that because I have a little bit of a nasally sound with my vocals.
Hmm.
And Bob Geldof was quite a nasal, I mean, go and listen to I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown
Yeah,
Rats,
yeah,
and you can hear that nasal kind of sound.
yeah. I think even when he speaks as well,
Yeah,
you can hear it.
well, that's because he's
Mm.
Irish, and the Irish accent has that very nasal quality.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you go to somewhere like Belfast and listen to them talk, they've got that very nasal quality.
Brilliant. Okay, so in terms of your influences, who would you say has been the biggest inspiration to you in terms of musically?
Well, I've already mentioned them, but the band that got me picking up a guitar, singing, and writing is Bon Jovi. And there's a reason for that. When I was going through my divorce, I stayed with my parents for about 18 months, and they live out in the wilds of the Surrey countryside. And if I climb over their back fence, I'm out in the wilds of nowhere. There's woods and fields and a few farmhouses, that kind of thing. There's a big mansion just up the way as well. So it's ideal just for disappearing and thinking. And I did a lot of that. But I was listening to a particular Bon Jovi album, which was their Have a Nice Day album, which
Hmm.
had come out just about that time. And there's a song on that album called Welcome to Wherever You Are. And it's a song about no matter what's happening to you, you're there for a reason. A bit like the law of attraction, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And that particular song has stuck with me throughout my entire musical career. And it's kind of spoken to me and said, look, whatever happens, you're meant to be here. And that was the big influence, that particular song. That was what got me thinking, I need to do this. This is another path that I'm taking that I've never thought that I would take. And look at where I am now. I'm in the process of recording my second album, which will be released, fingers crossed, sort of late summer this year.
Brilliant.
I need to get my finger out and basically get on writing. I've got 4 or 5 tracks that are half written. We've got 4 tracks released. So there's another 3 or 4 tracks to go that need to be written and arranged. And then we just need to get our heads down and get them recorded.
So would you say that in terms of actually pursuing your musical dreams, that a part of that thing that you actually needed to do was gain that confidence in yourself and have that element of belief in yourself to be able to say, yes, this song inspires me, but at the same time, I'm just going to go out and do it. Would you say that your self-belief was the key to you actually getting out there and giving it a go?
Yeah, absolutely. That particular song just gave me that little bit of push, that little bit of motivation. There's one particular line in the song, it's like, you're perfect. God made no mistakes.
Mm.
And I'm not a big religious person or anything like that, but that particular line, everybody's perfect.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are in their own way. We're all different, but we're all perfect. And, you know, whichever God you worship, or whichever power you believe in, they made you like that. Go do it. Go work with your strengths, build up your weaknesses, everything else. And it just encouraged me to kind of go out there, record stuff. And in the end, because of that, I recorded Angel first and then created the album 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah, and I mean, what you're actually saying is getting out there, and you mentioned it earlier in terms of your voice, being authentic to who you are, not having all these techniques getting involved to actually change your voice as well, but just being your authentic self. I'm sure you being Shaun C Bryant is what creates your brand. It's what creates your music, instead of being something else and being other people. You are the person who's selling the music. You are the person that's out there. So that must be one of the biggest things, is just being you and believing in you.
Yeah, I actually find that very satisfying. I mean, I recorded my first cover, which is a cover. It's a Waterboys track, originally written by a guy called Mike Scott, who I actually contacted on Twitter to ask his permission whether I could record it. Because I'm a big believer in asking before just going ahead and doing it, because you know the last thing you want is lawyers involved.
Yeah.
So I contacted him on Twitter and just said, look, I want to record a cover version of one of your songs. And the reply I got was quite funny. It was like, yep, as long as the royalties come to me, I don't mind. So, which, you know, at the end of the day, he wrote it. He's
Yeah.
allowed to say that. And it's Mike Scott from the Waterboys. I mean, you know,
Okay.
fabulous band. But their version of this song, it's a song called How Long Will I Love You? And Ellie Goulding had a big hit with it about 2 years ago. She recorded it for Children in Need. And it was also on the soundtrack of one of Richard Curtis's films called About Time, if I remember rightly. And it's lyrically it's beautiful, and lyrically it's quite hard to sing, because it's
Yeah.
one of these. It's quite a dainty song, and it needs a nice, steady, calm vocal with, to use a big word, decorum. You have to make sure that your vocal is nice and tight and clean and lovely and everything else. But I took that leap. I went through various changes personally in the last 6 or 7 months, and I recorded it for my kids, and they've both given it their blessing. They think it's a lovely version of the song, but it's just a song for me to express to my kids exactly how much I love them. And
Lovely.
if you listen to it, you know, it could be a song from one lover to another, but for me, it's a song from a parent to his children to
Hmm.
say, I'm here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, so you're quite versatile in the type of music that you like and sort of what you'll try. Would you say you're quite open to trying different things and open to life, which has got you where you are today?
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to some of the tracks on the first album, 3 a.m. in the morning, for example, there's a song there called This Is Where. And you know that it's very Santana-esque. It's got
Hmm.
quite a Latin feel to it. And also there's another track on there as well called Bayswater Road, which I love. It's, you know, it's written about, I was working in London, and staying at a little hotel just off of the Bayswater Road, just near Hyde Park. And it was that, I think it was the late summer of 2011, if I remember correctly, and somewhere around there. And it was like an Indian summer, and it was so hot, and it was October, September, October. And I was walking around Hyde Park, and just with the headphones on after work, just chilling out. I thought I'll get the headphones on, put the trainers on, go for a walk around Hyde Park, and then get some dinner, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it just kind of inspired me. And that one's actually got a bit of a reggae twist to it. Bit of a, don't know if you've heard of the genre lovers rock. It's
Oh
got that
yeah,
kind of rocky reggae kind of sound to it. And you know, it's another song that I'm very proud of. Lyrically, it came out brilliantly. It came
brilliant.
out really well. So yeah, you know, I'm quite happy to try new things. The only thing I won't try, that is, I will not be doing any electronic dance music or rap music in the future, just so you know. Um, but I like what I call the classic genres, like rock, reggae, even a bit of jazz could be fun.
Yeah.
I love the big band sound.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of Robbie Williams, but I love what he did with all the Sinatra stuff.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that to me, you know, is just, it just looks like so much fun to have a big orchestral band behind you. But a lot of bands have done that. I mean, big rock bands have done that, like the Scorpions, Metallica, Europe. They've all
Mm.
performed with either a string quartet or a string orchestra,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can get such a wonderful sound. There's a couple of really good bands out there that do that and have all this big orchestral pomp behind their rock music, and they are bands like Within Temptation and Nightwish, and they've got a really super duper lead singer, like classically trained, who can really hit all the operatic notes, but it's all really heavy rock combined with orchestral sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. I mean, Within
Mm.
Temptation are even getting airplay on Radio 2 now, you
Brilliant.
know. So,
Yeah.
and I love, I mean, that's the sort of stuff I'll put on for a workout. Within Temptation are perfect workout music. They really are.
And I think it also highlights how two different types of musics can come together and make something so spectacular. I mean, it just adds to it. And normally on an everyday basis, you wouldn't have even thought about putting both together, but it's amazing how it can just work.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
If you get the chance, I mean, there's one particular example of this that I love. Is you remember the song "The Final Countdown" by Europe?
Oh, yeah. Who can forget
Everybody, yeah,
that?
everybody knows that one, right? Big hair, Swedish rock band, kicking out this song. Go and look up. They do a version of it. It's on YouTube. There's a video of it, and they do like an acoustic-y orchestral version of it. And there's actually a video of it up on YouTube, and it's a totally different song.
Wow.
Totally
Okay.
different song, and it is fantastic. And you can see where they got like the idea for the song acoustically, and you can see then that they added all the rock stuff afterwards.
I'll definitely check that out.
It's still got that keyboard riff at the beginning, but the rest of it, the guitars, the drums, they got the strings in there as well. Wonderful, wonderful.
Excellent. We'll check that out.
It's worth a look.
So, obviously, your journey into the music business, were there times that you felt like giving up? Were there some difficult periods that you thought, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna stop? I mean, obviously, people have their ups and downs within the career they pursue. What was there any moments for you, and how did you get through it?
Well, funnily enough, just recently, I've been through some pretty big personal changes over the last sort of 6, 7 months, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't really touched any of my 5 guitars at all, bless them. They've been sitting there getting a bit dusty, unfortunately, which is bad of me. But
Yeah.
I've had a lot of personal changes that involve my children, my family, and various other things. And because of that, I'll be honest with you, I have not felt like writing at all. I really haven't. It's only just over the last 2 or 3 weeks, actually, that I've actually started looking at lyrics again, looking at lyrical arrangements, coming up with a few bits and pieces. And I'm very tempted, maybe over the next few weeks, I've got one of the acoustics with me, because I'm actually sort of in a different place to where I normally am at the moment. I'm seeing my son at the moment.
Okay.
And funnily enough, he's actually sitting on the sofa next to me at the moment. So.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's been a lot of changes, and sometimes I just want to get this across to everybody that's listening. Really, is you will find that life throws things at you, and there's a lovely quote: "When life does throw you lemons, make lemonade." And it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I've had to make some changes, and yeah, and I'll be honest with you, based on what's happened over the last 6 or 7 months, my life will never be the same again, ever. And there's various permanent changes that are going to have to be made. But the good thing about that is it's given me possibly a good insight into other emotions and other feelings that I never thought I'd have. So
Would
I
you
could
say
write
that?
about those.
Yeah, I was going to say, would that sort of maybe influence the musical side of things when you feel that you're ready to actually put pen to paper, or get those
Yeah.
songs out?
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, you and I, we've known each other way too long. Um, but the idea being is I've always been prompted, especially by my first producer that produced the 3 a.m. album. He was the guitar teacher guy that got me going on this journey, and I can't thank him enough for that. But he always said to me, write journalistically. Even if it's about you, write journalistically, as if you're writing it as a story. Tell a story with what you do. And that's what I try to do. If you listen to all of my songs, that they could be a story about anybody. So, for example, we've got the Midnight in Paris track, the title track from the album. And that's very much about a guy in Paris with a woman, enjoying that particular moment with that woman. There's another track called Here, which is all about missing somebody. And it's very, very personal to me. It is quite literally my personal feelings in a song. And, it's the sort of thing that it could be any part of my life, that song Here, but it
Yeah.
could also relate to absolutely anybody else as well. Lots of people could listen to that song and think, wow, that relates to what's happening to me right now.
And I think that's the beauty of music, and why so many people always have a huge passion for music, whether you're a musician or whether you're just someone listening to it, is that it does help you through difficult times, happy times. There's always something you can resonate with in a particular song, even though it may be personal to the person who wrote it. It will still have almost a neutral feeling to someone else and give off a different feeling to another person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very much. I mean, I mentioned that Bon Jovi song, "Welcome to Wherever You Are." You know, that to me, that is almost my life message. You know, you're there and you're there for a reason. Go do it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to just, you know, pick up life and get on with it. And you know, well, I guess I come from a sort of generation where, you know, you're kind of taught to pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and keep going. And I've had some speed bumps over the last few months or so. It's been an interesting, you know, few months. But the nice thing is things are now beginning to move forward. Things are picking up, and I'm beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Brilliant.
And that's really important to me. But I want your listeners especially, you know, to realize that life is what you make it. It's not, you know, it's not a rehearsal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And recent events in my life have taught me that big time. You know, make sure that, you know, everything you do, you enjoy the moment and remember that moment and never ever look back.
How has the law of attraction played a part in pursuing your dream? I mean, from what I'm getting, it's you being open to what's around you, and things have just automatically been flowing into your life. Would you say that's what's happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny. What I've tended to do is because of my day job and what I do in my day job, I have to network for my day job. And I go to various events and meet people and hook up with people and everything else. And with the music, I've applied the same principles where I network and I talk to people. And the more people you talk to and connect with, the more people, like you said, just kind of fall in your lap.
Yeah.
You know, you'll talk to someone and you'll hook up with, say, them and maybe a couple of their contacts on Facebook. And then all of a sudden you'll get a friend request from someone that you least expected. I mean, I mean, I've mentioned some names of people that I've met and things like that. That's fine. And I mean, if you go and look at my list of friends on Facebook, I don't want to name drop because I'm not a big believer in that. But there are some names on there that you will recognize. And you'll go, oh, I remember them and I remember them. And, you know, and I've hooked up with those people purely because I've bumped into other people that they know. And it's like this 6 degrees of separation that people always talk about.
Yeah.
And you will bump into one person, and then you'll bump into a person that they know, and then they know, and then they know. And then all of a sudden, you are potentially in the same room as someone that you never ever dreamed you'd be in the same room as. And it does happen. I mean, a prime example for me, I was at a Basker event, and Gary Kemp of Spandau Ballet walks in and starts chatting to us.
Wow. Yeah.
Completely on a sort of like at the bar having a beer kind of level.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with music.
Yeah. And I guess you see them as real people, you know. It's like, it's also, I think for anyone who's aspiring to break into the music industry or, you know, looking to build their career, it's actually showing you that these are real people who've made it. They're just everyday people who've just pursued their dreams. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, some of the people that I talk to at Basker, they are very well-known songwriters, but they are not the people that sing the songs. So I mean, I'll give you an example. I know the guy that wrote "Slave to the Rhythm" for Grace Jones.
Okay.
I know the guy that wrote a number of songs for Tina Turner. And all of these songs get put into the melting pot for these artists by agents, A&R people, record label execs, everything else. And they get picked out of the pot because they're good songs. And someone like Tina Turner will go, oh, I like that one. I want that to go on the new album.
Yeah, yeah.
And prime example of that is Nashville and country music. There are so many phenomenal writers out in Nashville, but you don't know who they are because they write for people like Blake Shelton, Rascal Flatts,
Yeah, yeah.
Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, you know. But all those songs are chosen by those artists because they like them. So and that's, you know, you've got this unseen industry and people don't realize it. You know, people see the Taylor Swifts of this world and think, oh, wow, you know, Taylor Swift. And I'm thinking, yeah, she's probably got a group of about 50 writers that work with her.
Yeah.
And and it's all that networking and, you know, and it's definitely a case of not what you know, it's who you know.
And I think
And
that's
that,
generally for everything, isn't it, really?
yeah, any
Yeah.
industry, whatever you do, it's a case of who you know, but especially in the music industry, very much so. But that law of attraction is there. And the more that you leave yourself open to that contact from other people, the more people will kind of fall into your lap. And all of a sudden, you've got the right person falling into your lap that you need to make your career move further.
Yeah. And I think also from what you've said in terms of those that actually write for the Taylor Swifts of this world, it's like they've got that strong self-belief that they've taken their work and saying, here, you know, go and make this song a success, almost to that point that they will let it out there for someone else to actually be the front person for it, and they're quite happy to be behind the scenes, but knowing that's their song. And that takes a lot of inner strength and inner self-belief as well for someone to take your song and get it out there. So, you know, for myself, I think that's quite, you know, respect to them who have actually got that inner belief to actually give other people their material and let it be heard.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you know, I would be over the moon if anybody picked up any of my songs and said, we'd like to do a version of this. You know, dare I say it, even if One Direction approached me and said they wanted to do a version. Now, that's purely me being completely mercenary, because I know that if they did a cover version of one of my songs, it would make, you know, God knows how many million sales. And I could walk away with quite a lot of money from the royalties for that. You know,
oh, you never know.
you never know. You know, stranger things have happened. But
So,
you know, I'm not a fan of One Direction, but from a career and an earnings perspective, you know, you never know when a connection like that will kick in. It does happen.
and it's still a message from you, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's your material, it's what you've written that's getting out there. So,
and a good song is a good song, no matter who sings it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just the way it is.
So, what last tips would you give to the Law of Attraction Network listeners regarding their Law of Attraction journey, pursuing your dreams? What last advice would you share with the listeners?
The one thing I would say is, one, be honest to yourself. Be totally honest and say to yourself, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to do it. And stick to being yourself as well. Don't become manufactured. If somebody says, oh, we want to change your image, or your hair needs changing, it needs to be a different colour, say, no, I am who I am.
Brilliant,
you know, just stick with who you are. And the second thing I would say is be totally open to any approach that anybody makes to you.
Yeah.
You know, obviously check it out and make sure it's not a scam or anything like that. But if somebody approaches you with potentially an option to do something, look into it. That was how I managed to get my publishing deal with a lovely guy called Richard Jackson Bass, who runs an organisation called Speagra. Him and his partner Jane, they approached me and sort of said, look, you know, we'd like to have you on our books. You know, it doesn't mean to say they're going to make me any money, but the nice thing is I haven't had to give them any money either. All we have is a contract that says, you know, if a deal does come through the door, the publisher gets a percentage, I get a percentage. But what's nice about that is I've now got a publisher who is watching my back, and even if I get the deal through the door and my publisher doesn't, they will then take that off of me and deal with it and deal with the people that need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And I got that, again, that was one that totally fell in my lap purely by chance, because they deal with other people that I know, that I've connected with, and have, in essence, through the law of attraction, I guess, kind of hooked up with me because of that network, that connection network.
That's excellent. Brilliant. Okay, so where can our listeners find out more about you and hear your music?
I think the easiest way to do that is to go to my website, which is www.ShaunCBryant.com, and that's spelt Shaun, just so you know. There's many ways to spell Shaun, but that's the way I spell mine. It's actually the English way, just so you know.
Okay.
So it's Shaun, Shaun, and then a C, and then Bryant, Bryant, and that's .com.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Shaun, for coming on the show to share your journey with us today. Well, I hope, listeners, this show has been an inspiration for you, and it keeps you moving forward in your journey and to whatever career you choose. Life is meant to be an experience, so go out there, have fun, and most of all, enjoy being you. So until next time, this is Coach Rita Hurry signing out. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another great show of your missing link to the law of attraction. For more information, go to coachrita.co.uk. That's coachrita.co.uk.